Good evening, everybody. The meeting of the Borough Mayor and Council for Tuesday, March 11, 2025 was called to order approximately 6 p.m. and the council went into closed session to talk about personnel matters and appointments. I will reread the Statement of Compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. And that notice of this meeting was published in the official newspapers and prominently posted in Borough Hall and filed with the municipal clerk in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Perhaps our public safety professionals could lead us off.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Can we have a roll call, please, Laura?
Sure. Mayor Koth,
Here.
Mr. Carnival,
Here.
Mr. Staff,
Here.
Mr. Tashian,
Here.
Mr. Kern,
Here.
Mr. Gallo,
Here.
Mr. Kelly.
Here.
Okay, so the agenda, we're going to get into budgets in a second. I am going to interrupt the budget process when we get between departments around the 7:30 hour when we have the fifth grade OPS STEM class come in to make a brief presentation to the council about a project that they would like permission for. But first, I wanted to take a minute and I wanted to address the revaluation that everybody got letters about last week, and I'm sure raised some alarms in reading your letters. So bear with me for a second. The process of revaluation in New Jersey is mandated by state law to ensure that all properties assessed at the same standard of value. It aims to achieve a 100% market value at the end of the process. The main purpose of this is to ensure that the tax burden is spread equally. The process seeks to ensure parity with two properties of the same market value that are assessed at the same level and paying similar property taxes. Revaluations generally occur every decade when the housing stock falls to 70% of their fair market value or when mandated by the state. Almost a decade ago, the council switched to a rolling annual assessment, where on a rotating basis, approximately 20% of the properties in town are selected for evaluation, and this was to maintain property values in line with the market to avoid steep increases in the value of one's home typically realized at the end of a 10-year period. Letters from Appraisal Services, Inc., the borough's contracted valuation consultant, were distributed last week with what they believe to be the new assessed value of your property based upon their inspections. The governing body is aware that in some cases, the increase of the value of your home may have come as a shock to you and cause concern as to how that relates to the property taxes you pay annually. I will admit that I too was shocked at first when I saw the assessed value of a home I own in town to have appreciated approximately 28% over last year's valuation, 1 year. However, when I searched what an approximate value of my property would be on Zillow, one of the many platforms in use, I learned that Zillow believed my property was worth more than the increased assessed value. While not an exact science, that may or may not be the case. What is fact is that Oradell is a highly desirable town with low inventory, coupled with high interest rates that have, in my humble opinion, artificially driven the real estate market in our town artificially higher via bidding wars. Oradell is also a community which is comprised of 90% housing stock and 10% commercial properties. This ratio and lack of diversification to the town's real estate portfolio places 9/10 of the burden squarely on the homeowner when it comes to the tax levy. This is an issue we must address going forward. For Oradell to remain affordable, we need to increase ratables. The good news in my message this evening is that while the values of your properties continue to appreciate, which is a great thing, an increase in the valuation of your property does not directly translate to the amount of taxes that you pay. To use a simple analogy, if your home last year was worth $100 and the town's budget was $20, fast forwarding to '25, the new assessment of your property is now valued at $200. The town's budget doesn't automatically double to $40. We still have a budget of $20 for all intents and purposes. Hence, your taxes would not necessarily increase as a result of such. When the value of property increases, we adjust what's called the tax rate downward to determine how much funds are to be levied through taxation. The difference in two houses, one a 3-bedroom house and another 3-bedroom house which was expanded to 5, the latter would pay a greater share of those taxes. Unfortunately, our tax assessor, Jim Anzavino, was not able to be here with us this evening to participate in dialogue on this issue. However, I have requested and Jim has made arrangements to hold a public meeting on Saturday, March 22nd, the time to be determined, to answer any questions from the public concerning their valuations and/or potential tax liability. However, I caution you, please understand that the latter cannot really be determined until the municipal, school, and county budgets have been finalized and adopted by their respective entities. I appreciate everyone's indulgence this evening. I felt it necessary to address this very important topic to our residents. So that being said, we will start tonight with our 2025 budget hearings. I think we're going to invite Lieutenant Egg, who's the officer in charge of the police department currently, to come up and give a presentation of the police department's budget requests. Lieutenant?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So I have a quick PowerPoint presentation, and I'll try to hit some of the major points at the end, or you can interrupt at any time, and I'll try to answer any questions that you might have. Currently, our police department consists of 22 members. Ideally, we would like 24 members to have it fully staffed properly. Our PBA contract was settled last year, and that is in effect through 2027. And last year, we hired 1 officer. This year, it is my hope we can hire 2 more officers, and that would bring us up to 24. We did have an officer leave that we had hired, went back to his hometown, unfortunately. As you all know, Chief Wicker retired March 1st of this year. So in terms of budget, that salary is now gone. In my proposal, I have allotted money for chief, lieutenant, and sergeant's promotions, because I think that's important moving forward. Currently, we have 1 civilian secretary. She's a new hire, and so far has been working out wonderfully. We have 1 Class 3 officer currently assigned to Riverdale High School. It's my hope later this year we can hire an officer for Bergen Catholic. We're currently working on that project right now. We have one Class 1 officer who just works per diem. So when he works, when he gets paid. We have approximately 12 crossing guards. And last year, as I'm sure you all recall, we gave our Class 1 and our crossing guards a $1 increase. It had been several years before they had gotten a raise, so Chief Wicker felt it was time. So our internal overtime, and that would be things such as sick time, vacation time, anything like that. Last year, $288,000 was budgeted. We came pretty close to that number this year, and I believe we can be pretty close to that again this year. Internal overtime, as I said, it's non-reimbursed, so it comes right out of the department's budget. And that can be anything from special events we run in town to sewer job. I'm sure you all recall in the Milford Avenue, the sewer issues we had there. All the traffic control for that, we paid for ourselves. And then occasionally DPW might need an officer for leaves or what have you. And again, that all comes out of our budget. Some of the New Jersey Attorney General training, we have active shooter training, that's 8 hours mandatory every year now. And something new for this year is 4 hours of jiu-jitsu training. And currently we have one officer that's certified, so he'll be teaching us in-house, so we won't have to go outside of the department for that training, which would be an additional cost. And we also have a couple officers that do this on their own, so they can assist in that training. So that's definitely a savings for the department. So the other overtime is external or reimbursed overtime. So any traffic detail, anytime you see an officer sitting behind PSE&G or Verizon, all those details are being reimbursed. So whenever you see an officer out there, the Borough of Wardell charges $148 an hour. Now, that includes a patrol vehicle, that's everything. We recently raised that from $138 in 2023. So one thing I would like to point out is after paying, so all these officers, they work these details, they get paid the overtime. At the end of the year, we had $542,000 left over, which was transferred per resolution 24-290 back to the borough. The surplus covered quite a bit of our operating budget. 4 items I just picked are internal overtime, our school crossing guard budget, our police secretary, and our compensation pay. The good news is moving forward, PSE&G is coming back into town, or they're going to start in probably a week or two, and they'll be here for approximately through October or so. They're going to have at least 1 crew a day, possibly 2. So again, it might not be as good as this past year, but we're still going to have a decent amount of infrastructure projects going on. More in our operating, there's many different line items, as you can see. The one line item is for our vendors, and that number goes up every year, unfortunately. It's anything from our recording system for our telephones to recording our radios to our scheduling software to our power DMS system. It just seems like every year that number goes up. And there's not a whole lot we can do to control that. So for my 2025 budget, as in 24, it was generally flat except for that one line item. And that's what I'm proposing this year. One surprise that could happen is if the Attorney General comes out with more mandatory training, or if the Prosecutor's Office comes out with more mandatory training. That's always something that I would have to address at that time. One of the supply accounts that I'd like to point out is ammunition. It's very expensive. That's half our budget for that line item, and that only goes up, unfortunately.
Dick, quick question for you. Is there a competitive process for sending some of those contractual items out, or are you obliged to only go with one supplier every year?
It's pretty much one supplier. And even so, ammunition, for example, there's other vendors out there, but the manufacturer is charging their price, and it is what it is. I mean, maybe here and
Fixed
there.
across all the
Correct.
suppliers that you interact with,
Yes.
the higher level up, okay.
Yes.
I remember seeing that bill this year, and it was a little,
The what?
I remember seeing that bill this year and was a little bit
Yeah,
surprised.
yeah, it's only gone up over the last, with COVID, it just, all the prices spiked and they haven't really come down. So to talk about our patrol vehicles, we have 6 frontline patrol vehicles, 3 for day, 3 for night. It's always good to have a few extras just in case we have a mechanical issue, some problem. So that's pretty much, I'm comfortable with 6 as the minimum. Currently, we have, last year we bought 2 new Tahoes, and we made the first payment. It's usually a 3-year deal, and those payments include paying vendors for the equipment that's in those vehicles. So this year we'll have to have 2 more payments, and then next year will be the final 2 payments. I'm requesting 1 vehicle. That seems to work well for us, doing 2 1 year, 1 the next year. It keeps everything current. We don't want our frontline vehicles to get too old, because then things start breaking down, mechanical issues, and the costs just skyrocket. The other positive thing about replacing our vehicles before they get too old is we can rotate them to other departments in town. OEM, fire department, if they need a new vehicle. Sometimes in the past, we've rotated one out that's still in decent shape, and they can use it for an extended period.
Lieutenant, that's the 92,000 for the Tahoe?
Yes, yes. So the other part of that would be, that includes 1 payment for this year.
Okay.
So, and the reason the numbers, if you look, there's a difference in some of the numbers over the years. So the 2 vehicles we just purchased, a very small amount of money, Sergeant Pressburger he was given a pool of money, and he was told, buy 2 vehicles, which he did. So when he initially bought them, a very small amount of money actually went to the bank to pay for the vehicles, the actual cost of the vehicle. The other money went to all the vendors that we have to pay to install radios and the MVR system. So the next 2 years is all costs of the vehicle. So that's why some of the numbers might be a little different.
Thank you.
So Lieutenant, the lifespan of a vehicle, is it 3 years or 4 years, or?
It depends. It's usually at least 3 to 4 years is ideal. I mean, you need to remember that these vehicles are running quite a bit, just idling. You know, it's a lot of maintenance on them. And at times they're driven hard, generally not, but it does happen from time to time, so.
And is there any resale market, or is it either just in the borough or?
No, there's definitely a resale market, and that is potentially a good thing, where if we replace them in a timely manner, we can sell them and make a little bit of a profit on it, and now we have more money to buy another vehicle or use for a program or what have you. So,
To another police department or?
no, we can sell them to the public.
Whomever.
Yeah, in the yearly auction that we have.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have 2 24 vehicles we purchased last year,
They're 25s, actually.
25. What are the years for the other those 4 vehicles? You said we have 6 now.
Our oldest is a 22.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what,
Yeah.
but the oldest one is a 22.
Okay.
So if we got rid of that, maybe 23 might be next, so.
Okay.
Okay.
And is any of the apparatus within the vehicles, is that reusable, or no? Is it not practical? Is it more cost-effective?
Sometimes, because if they change the model, if they change the style of the vehicle, sometimes, for example, like a cage that separates the front and the back, so when you have a prisoner, the officer's protected. Sometimes, if they change the design of the vehicle, we can't reuse a cage. Sometimes we can. It's a year-to-year thing.
Case by
And
case.
Sergeant Pressburger is excellent with taking care of all that, so. One thing I do want to mention is our bank time account. So, to explain bank time briefly, is if an officer comes in or we send them to training, certain community policing events, where we're not going to pay him overtime, but he wants to be here and be involved in something, it's for extra stuff, extra work. Instead of, in lieu of overtime, we'll give them bank time. Some officers throughout their career will build it up, use it, build it up, use it. That's no cost to the borough. Some officers will build it up, and when they retire, we're obligated to pay them for their time, as we just did with Chief Wicker. He had built up some time, it was frozen when he was promoted to chief, and so that is a potential long-term expense for bank time. But the average per officer as of the end of February is 210 hours. We don't, while they're working, we're not paying them for that time. They can't say, I want a check for 200 hours or however many hours they built up. But the town does need to maintain an account with a certain amount of money to cover that. So,
It has to be monetized and you have to accrue it every year.
yes.
Can you, I'm sorry, Lieutenant, can you explain that again, how that comes into play? If an officer requests bank time, if they're not on duty
So anytime an officer comes in
for their shift,
not for their shift,
not anytime?
for training, or even potentially they could work a traffic detail and take bank time. It almost never happens, because when you work a traffic detail, the officer wants the money. It's overtime. But, so when they do these extra things in town,
So they're working,
they're
performing-
working. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
They're on the clock. If they're training, they have to be on the clock. And so if they go to an 8-hour training class, they'll get 12 hours of time.
They have the option.
And for training generally is only bank time, unless it's some kind of reimbursed training, which does happen from time to time, but it's very rare. So we send someone to a class, they build up bank time, it goes in their bank. Many officers now use that time to take off, but when they take off, it can't cause overtime. So there's really no money involved in it.
Okay.
But like I said, at the end of their career, they are, the town would have to pay them.
Another quick question on bank time.
Sure.
Let's say you have a police officer, 5 years in, has 100 hours of bank time. They stay with the force for 25 years. By the time that they leave, what is the value of that bank time? Is that
It's,
monetized as he was a police officer
It
at
is
that
not.
time at a per hourly?
It's-
Or is it when he becomes, let's say, a lieutenant and then they exit?
it's whatever their hourly rate is when they retire.
Okay.
So if they earn it all when they're a junior patrolman, it's definitely a benefit.
Yep. Okay.
To put it simply. And I believe that is it. Any other questions about anything I mentioned?
So, Chief, under the, I'm sorry, Lieutenant, under the officer in charge. Under the operating budget, line item 29, other contractual services, this year, in 2024, we spent 99,000.
Correct.
The budget was 115, and we're moving it up to 119. I see throughout the budget, we tend to manage our increase based upon what was appropriated last year versus what was actually spent. That was the one line item in your budget that I thought if there was any room to save some money, that would be the one area that we could perhaps see some savings. So based upon the fact that we only spent $100,000 in 2024, do we really need 119 for this year?
That's something we can talk about, because already in the first 2 months of this year, we've paid some of those vendors. So I could go through each of those bills and see how it relates to the prior year, and there's definitely a possibility of we could reduce that number.
Okay. And that was the only line item where I saw that dynamic.
It's a large number. It's-
Yeah, anything that's $10,000 or more, I
Yeah,
look
okay.
at. Thank you.
I have a broader question. It's really to Ed. Thank you. Ed, the budget actuals, these are as of when? Because there may be some accruals that have not hit these actuals yet. So.
Oh, good point.
I'm not seeing actuals, right? So if you look in there right now, there's a 2024 budget, That's the budgeted amount.
There's the appropriations
Well,
and then
some,
there's
some,
actuals.
some tables have them, some don't.
Oh,
Okay.
this one had it.
Again, the
Right.
police, it's pretty much had them on most of them. The question is when were these run? And I know there's accruals for things that may have been sitting. So,
Turn on your mic.
okay.
The CFO. I also wanted to say we had hoped to have the auditor here tonight, since we had an abrupt departure of the CFO for a medical emergency in the family. Otherwise, we would have an answer specific.
Yep, understand. Thank you.
Can you go back to the overtime? The 288, you had a stat, can you just flip to that slide, would you mind? Okay. So what, was that all in, the 288, was that all internal overtime?
That's all internal,
Okay.
non-reimbursed by any vendor or anyone else.
Okay, and then the 542 is, in essence, the PSE&G patrol,
And that,
and goes back to the borough.
correct, and that was after all the officers were paid.
Correct.
So that's a significant number.
So Vic, I have a question.
Sure.
How does that work when out-of-town officers need to cover a detail in town because we don't have adequate people to do it? Are we paying that municipality, or is PSC&G paying them? And do they have the same rate as us? Or do they say next time, hey, I want New Milford and Oradell because they're $120?
The utility can't dictate to us what officer they want from what town. They're getting an Oradell officer first. Now, if we can't staff it, we call New Milford. PSC&G will deal with New Milford. We don't get involved.
But it's, in theory, it's possible they're paying multiple rates to multiple towns
Yes,
to cover a detail. Okay.
absolutely. Every town has their own rate.
I mean, where are we, you said our rate went up recently.
Yes.
Is that within market? Like, I mean, we're not,
I believe we're in the middle.
okay.
I could find more. I definitely know some towns are higher. Some are lower. It's just-
And what's the trend you're seeing? Like, how often would that rate tend to go up of what you've seen?
well, I just know here it's been every about 5 years or so.
Okay.
We've raised it
When was that last raised?
last year.
Last year.
So that's in the fee ordinance right now, 148?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Lieutenant, with overtime again, do you, and your potential ask for 2 officers, is there a direct correlation, I'm assuming so, in terms of additional officers and a potential decrease in overtime, or is overtime a fact of life because of the way things happen?
It's a fact of life. But the advantage of having younger officers is their overtime rate is much lower than someone like me or a senior sergeant working in a 12-hour detail or a 12-hour shift. You have a junior officer working that same shift, the overtime rate's lower, it costs the borough less.
Yeah, but I mean, just conceptually, if I had more people, I would have more people to staff that and not have to bring in people on overtime. Does that not necessarily work?
That's been a reality.
That's true, but with hiring more officers, we're trying to do some more promotions. And, for example, I would like to have a second detective. And to do that, we need to hire an officer to backfill a spot of a patrolman that would go up to the detective bureau.
Tom, the data does show, though, that when we had a smaller staff, our overtime was higher
Yes.
because we
Yeah.
needed more
Absolutely.
filling, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yes.
the
Sure. I
overtime's
mean,
come
that's-
down pretty significantly.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, and another thing to add, younger officers, when they're hired, for 5 years, they're floaters. I mean, so we have the ability to reassign them times so that it helps eliminate overtime.
So we can switch them. So we might have, let's say, an officer is taking off a weekend and now the tour is short. We could take a junior officer or a floater is what we call them. And if the day tour is heavy, we could switch them to the night tour to cover that. Doesn't always happen, but it's definitely, that saves quite a bit of money when we have floaters. And we still do for this next year, so.
And if you could just address the school officers, is it, so in the past, the schools hired subs, and is that correct, in Riverdale, and then they switched to officers, just, in Bergen, you mentioned?
You mean class threes?
Yeah.
So before last year, Riverdale did not have a class three.
They were using teachers as sub, or
They didn't
whatever.
have, they didn't have
anything.
anyone armed in the
And they
building.
made a decision,
And they made the decision, and they came to us and said, we would like a class three officer. Now, the class three officers falls under my jurisdiction, not the Board of Education. Some places do that. The ideal way to do it is to have them under the control of the police department, because now they're held to certain standards and training. His salary is 100% reimbursed by Riverdale, by the Board of Education. His training and equipment is paid for by the borough. And it would be the same arrangement for Bergen Catholic. Now, I know in some other towns, it's a 50-50 split for the salary, where the borough will pick up some of it and the school will pick up some of it, but that's how we've done it in Ordell, and it seems to be working.
and I'm assuming, or most schools, even the public school behind us, some towns have class threes there, some don't, and that's up to the school district or
It's-
school board.
Yes, it's the school board. That's who, if they want it, we will facilitate the process and we will get someone in the school. But it has to come from them.
Thank you.
Typically, Tom, it's a retired officer.
Is it?
It's
Okay.
retired.
It
out of
has
the
to be a
force.
retired
That's the law.
officer
They have to be
from New
retired.
Jersey, and they had to retire in good standing.
Okay.
Vic, I had one question on, where are we at? Education's dues subscription line in your budget. RDF, one-time assessment fee per municipality, $2,500.
Yes.
Whose authority does the RDF exist under? Sheriff, the prosecutor?
It's the Bergen County Police Chiefs Association.
Okay. So who has the legal authority to assess the borough $2,500 to contribute to security for the World Cup, which is a state function?
It's a request. All the chiefs can do is request it,
Okay.
because this event is going to affect Bergen County.
No question, but I mean, is there discussion with the state public safety officials and at the county level as to how this is being funded? Because I can assure you, and I'm not beating up the messenger, we're not getting a check as a part of the revenue of the economic boom that it's alleged to bring to the region. I don't know why Oradell taxpayers would have to pay to help offset the security costs. It has to be secure, I get it.
Yeah.
That's first and foremost, but
You make a valid point. I will say it's a one-time thing, and it's for the good of the county. And I see and I understand your point, Mayor, but I think this is an important thing. This department has been involved with the RDF I've been on it almost 25 years now.
right.
It's a great organization. They do a lot of good work.
So could you just explain for the council's knowledge how that basically works, right? We have officers that participate, you get called, you go, you're on the clock. We're not necessarily contributing cash to fund the program, but we do cover the officers' time who participate when
Correct.
assigned.
So historically, the way it's worked is most towns in Bergen County, not all, have one or two officers. Larger departments might have 3, 4, or 5. And they are trained together. We train together twice a year. And it's basically for riot-type situations. So as you can imagine, a couple years ago, we were pretty active. We were getting called out at least weekly. And then even recently, with some of the things that have been going on in the county, we've been called out. So the way our departments handle it, if you get called out, we would pay you overtime. Any training, anything else involving RDF would be bank time, because you need to be on the clock. So that's pretty much how it works. And we only ever had 2 officers. That's the most we've ever had. Right now, it's myself and Detective Madeline.
Thank you. So we have 2.
We have 2.
Okay. One of the things that I would have hoped to have seen in the budget really is the revenue side as well, because there are things we do that the expense offsets the generation. We need the expense in order to generate the revenue, not so much in the police side of things. But it does lead me to ask about, and I'm casting a wide net with this, do we take in any revenue from forfeiture funds, seizures of, drugs that may happen within the community or other things? Can you just touch upon
Sure.
what may happen there and if we've been able to benefit from that
So-
and what happens with it?
So we have two seizure funds currently. One is through the prosecutor's office, so any arrests that have happened within the department where we seize money, and there's probably about $25,000 in that one. And then, as you all know, we have an officer on loan with another agency. He has started to bring in some money, so we have about $30,000 in that fund. They are pretty restrictive on what you're allowed to do with those monies. It's not like I could be, hey, I want 15 grand, we're short on overtime this month. That's a no-no. But certain pieces of equipment, I could dip into that. The federal government is a little looser than the county, but it is something that I would like to, in the future, start to dip into some of those funds.
So theoretically, we can use those funds for ammo, which is higher.
I would have to check. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah, so John, we can't direct the use of those funds, I believe.
Correct.
There's a specific set of rules and guidelines which apply to how they can be spent, and it's at the chief's or the officer in charge discretion on what they would look to apply that to.
Yeah, and I would have to go through whatever the item is, technology, this, whatever, I would have to get it approved by either the federal government or the county prosecutor. But it's something I want to look into because we really haven't spent that money in the past. And it's just sitting there. I know, I can give you one example where either next year or the year after, we're going to have to buy a new breathalyzer machine. The county has approved departments to use some forfeiture money to offset the cost of that. So that's one good example, because that machine's going to be between $20,000 and $25,000, so.
Thank you.
That money doesn't time out, doesn't, you have to use it
No.
in a certain amount of time?
One other question I had, Vic, in your other contractual services around the use of the range for qualification. I know when you find a place that you like using, why fix what's not broken? But when I look at Park Ridge's cost proposal year over year, their percentage increase in what they're charging us is exorbitant. Do you guys at regular intervals look at the availability of ranges throughout the county, whether it's other departments, the county itself, or what have you, to look at comparing those costs?
Specifically, have I done that? No.
No,
But I
department.
can say that to try to qualify up at the range in Mawa, it's not happening. It's very, very difficult to get up there. And our department would have to be up there 4 times a year. Twice for our quals, and then for the officers that carry a rifle, they have to go 4 times. We have developed a good relationship with Park Ridge. They're actually closing the range down and they're redoing it. So it will be much nicer, redoing the ventilation system in the range. So they are spending money. It's not like it's an old range run down. They're actually spending money to improve it. So that's where some of that money is going. One minor increase we're gonna have is we've recently contracted with Hasbrook Heights, because to do a proper rifle qualification, we need a 50-yard range. They're one of the few 50-yard ranges around in Bergen County. For a small fee of $500 a year, they're going to be charging us, so the officers that are qualified to carry a rifle can go there and qualify. So, and recently, I'll take it one step further. In the fall, Park Ridge will be closed. We're going to go to Hasbrook Heights to do our fall qualification. So next spring, Park Ridge should be open.
Lieutenant, changing gears, if we were to have to hire officers, are we competitive? Would that be an easy process? You read about places that can't attract officers, right?
Oh, for new hires, I didn't hear what you said.
Yes, for new hires. Yeah, are we attractive, or would
We
you
are.
have a lineup? or-
And I think it's a great place to work, and I'll argue that point all day. We've had one officer leave, as I mentioned earlier, but he was from Hasbrook Heights. He grew up there. His father was an officer there, so we understood why he left. And he's actually still comes and visits. You know, it's not like he was in a bad place here. We loved him. He was a wonderful officer, and we were all sorry to see him go. Recruiting wise, it's tough everywhere, and it's not just Ordell, Paramus, all the towns. It's a nationwide issue actually. But we've been fortunate because Bergen County, we have higher salaries, and it's a good place to work. So.
And what about the facilities here? I haven't really toured back there, but it looks awfully small. And if you have 20, I don't know where you guys all squeeze in back there, but can you
I
comment
would-
on that?
On another day, I would love to give you a tour,
Yeah, I mean, I would,
and you can see for yourself.
yeah, I would think it's got to be pretty tight back there.
Yeah, Tom, I think that's more of a capital budget
Yeah, I'm
discussion.
just looking for an opinion, and I know we're not talking about, just.
I would love to show you,
Yeah, I'll take it.
and you will realize it without
Yeah.
me saying much.
Yeah, I know it's a different discussion, but I appreciate it.
Yes.
Any other questions for Lieutenant?
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
So we are going to switch gears and interrupt the budget presentations because it is a school night and these fifth graders need to get home because they're going to go right to bed, I'm sure. Right, James? And we're going to invite Mrs. Cataldo and her fifth grade STEM class to come on up and talk to us about their project that they would like us to consider for the Panasonic Eco Challenge. Laura, how do we help these guys with their presentation?
Linda, is Nick able to come up to help them with their computer? Spoke to him about it earlier today, so.
I mean, is as simple as plugging in the HDMI cable?
Oh, Joe, to the rescue.
Nick's coming up to set up.
Let's go, Joe.
Rolling, Joe.
Good evening. My name is James Goth, and I'm in 5th grade from OPS. We are with Miss Cataldo and my group for STEM class, and we are working on a pond presentation for STEAM.
James, maybe your classmates could just take a minute and introduce themselves as well?
Hi, I'm Alexios Caladriou. We initiated this group, and we got the water pollution thing, and we made an entire presentation showing what our idea is to...
Hi, I'm Maxwell Spangerman. Yeah, we got all.
You guys just have to introduce yourselves. I know you got a whole presentation lined up you want to run through.
Hello, I'm James Hoffman.
Okay, well, welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. We think it's time for a change. We think it's time to take action. Humans have been polluting ponds and rivers for too long. It's time to do something about it.
Dear Ordell Council, we are the Water Wizards, a group of 5th graders from Ordell Public School working on our STEM project. We are reaching out to share our idea for cleaning around the ice skating pond and to ask you for your support in making it happen. Over the past 2 years, the pond has been polluted, and we want to help make it cleaner and safer. especially for winter skating. Our plan is to use fishing nets to remove trash from the water and pick up garbage around the pond. However, we can't do it alone. We need your permission to post flyers around town and to display our digital flyer on the big screen in the center of Oradell to spread the word. We hope that when kids and parents see our flyers, whether they're going to grab a cup of coffee at the Dell, enjoying a good slice of pizza at Bella Italia, or picking up their child from Master Sue, they will join us making a difference by picking up trash near any brook, stream, or pond near their home.
Here are the details. Date, April 26, 2025, in celebration of Earth Day. Time, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Where? Ice skating pond. Participants should bring their own nets, but if anybody wants to bring extras to share, that would be greatly appreciated. Everybody can decide how long they'd like to stay. Every little bit helps make a difference. We will provide trash bags. With community support, we can make our water cleaner, have a better place for skating and other activities. Thank you for considering our request. We hope to hear from you soon. Sincerely, the Water Wizards. 5th grade, Oradell Public School.
This is our slide we would like to use. Help keep our pond clean. Join us April 26, 2025 at 10 a.m. This is what we want our pond to look like. If you are available, please come join us in bringing back Oradell's beautiful nature. Bring your nets and some for friends. Can't join us? Then please clean any trash or litter near any water source by your home. We will provide garbage bags to put the litter in.
This is our flyer. Come join us as we try to keep our water clean. This is what we want our pond to look like. Our cleaning will be on April 26th in celebration of Earth Day from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. If you are available, please come join us to give back to Oradell's beautiful nature. We won't be providing any nets, so please bring some. If you can't help at the pond, please clean any litter by water near your home. We will appreciate it. Thank you for listening to our presentation.
So I hear you guys have a big exciting ask for one of those ads and where you'd like it to be shown. Do you want to clarify that for us?
Yes.
Yes.
Where would you like us to show that ad for you?
So do you know that sign in the middle of Oradell on the big TV?
Town information board?
Yeah.
That would mean a lot to you guys to have that there? You think that would help you get a lot of support on the 26th?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
So I think we can put all the information up. It can't link an actual flyer or like a picture. We can put that on the website. Because there was another organization that asked for that today to put an actual flyer on the board. And I heard the response was that we can't upload a flyer. It's like inputting the information format that we have. But I'll double check.
Yeah, let's see if we might be able to think through that, because we do have some graphics that appear on the information board. We just may have to be modified to be able for the board to show it, but how does the council feel about lending our information board to the 5th grade STEAM class?
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Mr. Kelly, to my right, at the end of the dais, is also the liaison to the environmental committee for the town. And I've asked him, and I think he and the committee would be pretty excited to work with you guys and be part of your event that day, as I know they have some other events planned as well. Would that work?
Yep.
Yes.
So that sounds great, Mayor. Yes, our committee met just recently, and we also were targeting, just coincidentally and serendipitously, if that's a word, the 26th to host a cleanup, and we can work together and help you guys out and bring some town residents there to clean up that Memorial Field, and then followed by in the afternoon, if you'd like to join us at the library, we're planning on a whole day of environmentally friendly programs and cleanups and recycling, et cetera, et cetera. So maybe we're due to meet probably the first week of April. If some of you folks would like to come to our meeting, or we could potentially also come to the school. We have some passionate people that are along with you and want to accomplish exactly what you're going to do. So I will chat with the mayor, and we can pass that on and get those dates, and that'd be wonderful if we can work together and help you guys out. So thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you.
That'd be great. And I will ask Mr. Hines, our administrator, if we can try and coordinate with the county's Clean Communities program. They may be able to provide the majority of the supplies that these young men and their volunteers would look for to use that day, such as bags and rakes or nets or other things. I'm sure you would welcome any assistance you could get.
Yeah, I know our DPW has those grabber, a bunch of those, which are wonderful to get in when they're in the reeds and the weeds that we've used in the past. So it's really wonderful. It's a great community day. So thank you, guys.
Great. Do you guys have any questions for us?
Nope.
You got what you needed?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
You're off for ice cream? No?
No.
Sounds good.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate you coming in and thinking of this community project for us.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, back to our regular programming. Next up is Chief Moran, Assistant Chief Moretti, and the Fire Department's operating budget.
Thank you.
That has to be plugged in, otherwise the graphic
you.
feed's gonna go and we're gonna have to reboot.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks, Al. Help is on the way.
It's all the way in now. I don't know what story is.
Yeah, I'm seeing someone's coming up.
Mayor, are you waiting, or
You guys are good, or?
I'm good. It's not showing, but I can move forward if you like.
Why don't we start?
All right. Well, good evening. On behalf of the fire department, I'd like to just kind of walk through what we are proposing for our 2025 operating budget, and maybe starting at the bottom. This past year, in terms of kind of state of the state, call volume in the fire department is at a record high. I think that's consistent with our neighboring towns. Volume is very high, activity is very high last year, and it's continuing into this year. That call volume does drive costs, right? So our equipment is operating more. Good news is we do a lot of the repairs on our equipment in-house. So we take a lot of pride keeping our equipment in good shape. Some of the just some of the other data points. Our membership ranks are in good shape. They're increasing. You've seen more people lately getting sworn in here. I think that's been a very good thing. Big effort of ours is to keep our membership strong. That is not the case throughout the county. That's something we're very proud about. And our volunteer hours last year were about 11,000. Some of the other things, you know, we do a lot of work on the grant front, trying to get grants. We've been very successful in getting grants as well. One of the latest grants we had actually is around membership. That's something that we're working on right now. You'll see some of these things when I talk about some of the operating costs, and some of these are relatively nominal changes, but they're kind of related, right? So as we
increase our ranks. We're roughly 50 firefighters strong. So some of the items we have are just increasing because our membership's increasing. So our budget last year was 138,000 and change. That's for all 50 firefighters. And we're looking in 2025 to increase that to 149,000. And what I just listed were some of the items that are driving the increase and supporting the increase. So one of the items that last year we presented to you was our fire department never had previously a administrative resource, right? So the burden of all the administrative work, which is increasing, like it's increasing in the fire department like it's increasing elsewhere. We have different obligations in terms of data retention and training records and the like. And one of the things that we looked at last year was that our kind of officer corps, we change over on average every 2 years. And one of the intents last year was to bring on an administrative resource. We estimated at the time, because we had never used one, that we were estimating 10 hours per month. The idea behind it was to have someone in the administrative ranks who can provide some level of continuity as the leadership changed, right? So somebody who understood exactly how things had to be saved and recorded, et cetera, and to assist with some of the daily invoicing, and which is it's not an insignificant amount of time to kind of manage. That's been very positive. It's definitely helped in terms of helping us manage all of that. One of the things that we realized, though, was that our estimate was low. And on average, what our administrative resource is taking is about 20 hours per month, and that's really for only part of what we were hoping she'll be able to help us with. And she's very experienced in doing the work that we need to get done. So this year, what we're looking to do is to increase her to the 20 hours per month, which is an additional, on average, about $3,000 a year. So that's the first line item. Second item I just wanted to mention was an increase in the officer stipend. So we have 6 officers who work with our 50 members, part of the 50, and there is just an increasing commitment on the officers in the time that the officers spend really managing the affairs firematically of the fire department. So we think it's the time to increase a stipend, a nominal amount, to recognize the effort that the officers en masse support our department. And then I listed several other operating increases, and some of these are pluses and minuses, but I listed a few of the pluses. Last year we migrated to a new fire department operating software. This is a software that it's a good step function in terms of improvement as to where we were with fire department software. And the software does everything from logging our incident reports that we're obligated to save and upload to the state, maintains department records, big improvement in enabling us to manage pre-planning. So when we arrive on a scene, it gives us a lot better capabilities in terms of knowing what the building is. And the software that we utilize, other towns in Bergen County are now also starting to utilize, even neighboring towns, which is very helpful for us because we do go out of town. About a third of our response is outside of Oradell because all the towns locally support each other. And if they have the same operating software, we have the ability to see details into their borough as well. So that has an increased operating cost. And then some of the other items kind of get to, reflective of a growing department, right? So we have more people. Our cost for clothing goes up. Our cost for communications go up in terms of pagers and the like. And our training budget, right? So coming with the number of calls, we spend more time training than we're out at calls, and I think that's the right kind of ratio in terms of spending a lot of time in the firehouse preparing. So
Terry, just one
that's
question
the
on the
focus
first due. What's the annual? I know that there was an increase year over year to get it up and running.
Yeah.
But what's the annual typically? Where are they proposing, or what are they telling you?
In terms of the annual budget?
No, the annual cost of
Our annual
running
spend?
off of first due.
I'd have to go back and look. I thought it was. I think it was $7,000, if I
Okay.
remember right, some number like that?
That's helpful.
Yeah.
It's not on
So-
here, that's why I wanted.
Yeah, no, I kind of showed you the incremental compared
Right.
to where it was. I have to go back and look at it. It's in that neighborhood.
All right, thank you.
And then I noted here that some of these increases are offset by line item reductions or some of the grant work that we continue to work on. That's it at a high level. If you have any questions.
So I'll address one, Chief. I think we already addressed the increase in the officer stipend in the salary ordinance when we last updated that.
Okay.
So I think we all agreed that we really appreciate the work that the leadership does. The fire department side, it's, you're making 2 cents an hour if you take what we're giving you, and it hadn't been increased in quite some time. And it's still, in my mind, not adequate, but it's something. And we appreciate the effort that everybody puts in.
Thank you.
Terry, can you, I know obviously we did the truck last year. What is your, and I know this isn't necessarily applicable to 25, but where are you thinking, what is it, what's the next in line from a replacement?
I'd say that's a tower.
Right, the tower. What is the time frame on that?
That's a good question. That's something the fire department we're talking about now. The tower this year is 22 years old. NFPA guidance is 25 years old to replace. Right now, apparatus, the engine that we purchased is going to have a 2.5 or 3 year build, I believe. So, soon we should be talking about the replacement for the tower. And like everything else, as it's aging, we're getting more repairs. Last year, we had a kind of an emergency repair for $50,000 to replace a part. We do a lot of preventive maintenance on the truck, but like everything else, it's aging. We're doing the best to keep it in shape.
Have you guys utilized the shared service with Paramus?
We have not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good arrangement to enter in. For us, it's really a contingency, if needed. As I said before, we do a lot of work in-house. We have a good relationship with the entity that we utilize now. They service us really well. We think the price is right. But we were happy to get that arrangement in place, but we haven't utilized it yet.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Fair question for the capital meeting. If we can all stick to the operating, we'll get out of here at a fine hour this evening.
Don't want to get ahead of myself. Sorry about that, man.
Chief, again, thank you for all you guys for your service. In terms of the clothing allowance is an interesting term. Is that a discretionary item, or does the department purchase that, or is that basically up to each member's discretion in terms of the need?
No, the clothing allowance really is a recognition of the expenses members will incur throughout the year, right? So
It's up to them.
it's in terms of how to utilize it, but it gets, it's incurred based on, members have to qualify for it. So not every member will get a full amount per se, right? So depending on the year, how long they are, a member for the year. But normally that I'll say qualify, that's basically the qualifying criteria. Are they in there for the year?
So it's a request that they would bring to,
It's part of our budget, and what happens every year is we submit that to the town to pay out to the members, and as I said, it's really in
whatever
recognition.
your suits or the workout.
Yeah, it's
whatever
recognition
may
that
be.
you are gonna spend money during the year. So it's not an item where we go and submit specific receipts for it. It's in recognition that over the course of the year, kind of on average, an expectation that you are gonna, incur some costs around that.
I think it's more of an insurance policy on our part, Tom, that we don't want claims that somebody damaged their suit putting on their fire gear or stained their khaki pants.
Yeah.
We're gonna give you a little bit of something to help take care of that.
All that happens, right?
You assume that
Yeah.
responsibility.
Step on glasses and things like that.
Terry, one thing I was looking for, I couldn't find, are we, and maybe this carries over into the OEM discussion, but there used to be a fee in your line item budget for dispatch. Has that disappeared? Is that in another budget now?
I believe that's in the borough's budget somewhere. It's not in our line, it's not a line item by us. The cost for central dispatch.
Correct.
That's not a line item in our budget.
So are you aware of what the current cost is for the dispatch services for the fire department?
I don't have that on top of my head. I don't want to speak.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions for either of the chiefs? Nope.
Done. Thank you.
Thank you very much for everything that you guys do.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
No, I'm low tech tonight. Yeah. What's that?
All right.
Yeah.
Next up is our emergency management coordinator, Mr. Godhelf.
So we start with the dispatch. I think it's about 5,200 a year. That's just for fire dispatch. And that's, I think historically has been paid out of, I don't know where it's been paid from, but that's historically hasn't been part of fire or OEM.
I just want to make sure it's here, because otherwise it's
Yeah.
getting shut off, right?
So I'll go through, some of the line items that I have are probably a little bit smaller than some of the other departments. Going into 2025, just a very small increase on two of the line items. The first being under education dues and subscriptions. Over the last 2 years, there's been just some more training for the department, both for myself and the deputies. So that was a small increase in the training category. And then moving down to communication, another small increase. Some of our mobile communications equipment, not necessarily radios, but computers and hotspots. We added an additional piece of equipment last year, so that increases some of the data costs that we have. So I think overall the budget remains lean for operational readiness, with just some minimal increases tied to some critical needs that we had going into this year. Any questions on anything specific that we typically cover in any of the line items?
I would again say thank you, and you mentioned that it's lean, and you feel that you're staffed appropriately.
Yes, we have a great bunch of members on the team with lots of good difference in backgrounds and experience and roles that they play with Reach and Agile.
Is it just three?
It's myself and 3 deputies.
Yeah, and that's enough to
Yeah.
handle. And the chain is then you would go to the fire department, police, or, I mean, if you
Depending on the situation, it would really depend on.
work or.
Yeah, everyone works very closely together.
Thank you.
Joe, just one question about the equipment you brought up before in the communications line. So the increase is attributable to acquiring or needing to acquire another laptop, or?
No, that was just the monthly fees for data.
So they've more than doubled?
It was for an extra, for a new laptop with the data included. So the laptop is already paid for, it's just the month-to-month data costs.
So
Yeah.
the 1,100 is just so you have connectivity
Correct.
on that computer?
Correct.
We don't have two?
Two devices, both covered in the total.
So we have hotspot coverage on 2 computers?
Correct.
What is the second one used for? I get the one you probably have in the vehicle.
The second one is just a hotspot for other members, so if it's a tablet or a computer that's not directly connected, we have that connectivity in the field.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions for Joe? Where's the Staples button?
Yeah, that was
That
easy.
was easy.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. Mr. Petrosino, welcome.
So you have no paper, you're not asking for any increase?
No, I'm actually not. I'm keeping my budget flat, as Ed can attest to. There was,
This budget actually going down.
yeah, actually, I did drop a number of lines. The only one I did increase was to reflect the salary ordinance change that went into effect. The last couple of years, I haven't spent my budget, so it's actually been profitable for the borough. The fees Ed and I have met, I believe they're still at a good place. We're able to fund the whole department without any cost to the borough's taxpayers. It's the businesses that pay their business registration fees or their life hazard fees to the state, and then we get the partial reimbursement. That's what funds my office, and I'm looking to keep the number flat because I don't need to spend money that I don't need you to give me money that I'm probably not going to spend.
So you're a self-sustaining department?
Yes.
So
Thank you very much.
And one of the things I'd love to see on the financial side is when a department is a revenue-generating department, it'd be nice to see how the revenue offsets the expense. That's an anomaly. It's not an everyday occurrence that departments are funding their own activities, so nice job.
Thank you. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
You're hired.
Thank you.
Too bad you had to
I've
go-
already been hired.
Too bad you had to go last.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate your help.
Okay. That handles the budget items on tonight's calendar. I would say if anybody comes up with further questions, probably note them down for a later meeting or forward them on to the administrator for follow-up. So next on the agenda is old business. Do we have any old business to come before the council tonight? If not, Mr. Kelly, would this be yours by any chance, the Lions Pancake Breakfast?
That would not
Or
be,
is that just a general request of the council? Okay. How does the council feel about waiving the fee for the Lions Pancake Breakfast?
It's been
What do-
SOP. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind.
There's a letter in your packet that explains what it's for.
It's been SOP for years, so, and it's a great service to the town.
Okay, so Laura, we'll have a reso waiving the fee at the next meeting. Thank you. Any other new business before we move on to public comment?
Mayor, just a couple of things, if this is, I'll be quick before we meet next. Just as a reminder, this Thursday evening, I mentioned it is free to our seniors, the dress rehearsal to the Bergen County Players. They want to be a good neighbor to us, so there is a new show going in. I believe it's Things That My Mother Taught Me, but that's Thursday evening, free to our seniors to attend. This Saturday, Rotary will have a food drive in the Vogeley parking lot, serving our local food banks. And again, the DPW is open, as I mentioned in the past, down there for styrofoam, plastic, electronics, and a swap shop. And Monday, we have a big crowd coming to our St. Patrick's Day senior luncheon at the senior center, followed by, I believe our police will be there, Safe Streets presentation. So that's Monday at noon, and any of the council are welcome to be there. But I think we have 50 or 60 residents already signed up, and so that's it.
Great. Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
I'll now entertain a motion to open public comment on non-agenda items.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Now open to the public for non-agenda items only.
Good evening, Paul Tsunis. 9 days left for spring. I'm looking forward to that. As usual, we're going to have a lot of cleaning up to do. So these are things that I see that have to be done, like filling potholes. There's a pothole on Argyle and Kinderkamack at the crosswalk, where as you're crossing, in the middle of the crosswalk, you can trip and fall. I just wanted to bring that to attention. Also, about tree plantings. 3 trees we've been waiting for at the DPAC entrance that were removed, the ash trees. We still haven't gotten them. It's been years now. And also, there's one on the streetscape. There's trees that are missing in the streetscape. There's particularly one on Berkshire and Kinderkamack Road. We're going to prepare our playgrounds again. We have to add the wood chips at all the playgrounds, install the fountain at the DPAC, and hopefully, this is the one that was vandalized. Hopefully, we'll get the security camera on working order and recording. Also, the gazebo clock on Kinderkamack Road isn't telling us time anymore. So, and it's not because of the 1 hour difference. It's way off. Okay. I wanted to know about the senior kitchen. The April date for acquiring the grant money and renovating is approaching, and we must get this done so that we do not forfeit the money. Hopefully we can start. April's almost here. I haven't seen anything happen at the kitchen.
June 30th.
Yeah.
The date's not April, Paul, it's June.
Oh, I thought that you had to have the money by then.
The program runs on a fiscal year,
Oh,
July 1
that's
to June
good.
30.
I didn't know that. Thank you. That's good. So we have time. I have a proposal that an education fee be paid by new developers of housing units in Oradell to help offset the burden of the taxpayer to the increase of population density to our education system at OPS and Riverdale and the intermediate high school. We do it for the new construction in subsidizing the affordable housing in town. Now, let's do it for our education, for our educational school system. I think that would be a good idea. So we could raise some money from these big projects, developers making tremendous amounts of units and bringing population density higher. Has there been any communications with the New Jersey Transit on why or when the gates of Oradell Avenue can be raised on trains that pass the gate area going south? I haven't heard anything about that. And a large portion or project of housing on the corner of Kinderkamack and Veldren Avenue will significantly increase congestion and traffic in the area of Sherrard Park and the corner, Kinderkamack corner of the Oradell Avenue. Please, it's a wrong place for this particular project. Something else should be smaller there and not so many units. So please have something in planning to do otherwise, and not this 420 project. Seems too much for that area. That's very congested as it is. And it's a wrong place for it, or a very wrong place for it. Probably a good place for a little restaurant or something like that, but not for that kind of a project. And that's all I have to say tonight. And one other thing, Ed, you're doing a great job on the collecting of the money for the fireworks and looking into that lighting in our town for the LED lights for our town. You're doing very well. And I see you're really taking up on a lot of stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
David Banfield. I just have a question about IT services. I understand, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, that we have 3 different IT contractors. The fire department has one, police has one. Does the borough have one, 3 separate IT? If that's true, can we find some cost savings by selecting one instead of 3? I mean, there may be particular reasons, but if not, I think we should consider that possibility. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ori Katzen. Good evening. Good evening, Council. I would like to open today by hearing the lieutenant from the police department. What he was saying, I just want to let you guys know, and I'm going to talk to him about that as a pistol trainer and concealed carry trainer that I've been training people for a few years right now. The cost of ammunition has gone down. If we're talking about a 9mm bullet, used to cost between 2017 and 2020, used to cost somewhere around the 12 cents, 13 cents. It went up. After COVID, it tripled itself. It went up between 40 and 50 cents per bullet. Today, the cost is about 25 cents. I would say 24 to 25 cents. So actually, I've seen, as someone who buys a few thousands of them every year for my students, as I'm training them, I've seen a decrease up to from 40 cents and all the way down to 25 cents per bullet. So I'm not sure if the vendor that they're using is taking advantage of them, but I'm just looking at the open market and what's available, and I just want to bring it to the attention of the council. And also the fact that there's a very, very nice range at Gun for Hire. That's where I take my student. That's where I teach, at Gun for Hire in Woodland Park. Top of the line. A lot of police department use that one, and they should look to hopefully get there. In other notes, all the astronomy geeks that are here, especially the kids that are around here, you're gonna have a great chance to watch a phenomenon on late Thursday night, very early Friday morning, around 2 a.m. Total lunar eclipse that, like that one, has not been around for a few years, and the next one will be many more years to come. So take a notes. Early Friday morning, 2 a.m. until about 3 a.m., a long lunar eclipse. That's about the two things I wanted to basically bring up to the attention, and now I have to basically take the gloves off and criticize the board and the mayor for lack of action on the part of Sergeant David Solinas and the part of making an ordinance to memorialize fallen heroes. I would like to say that solidarity is not measured in words. It's measured in action, okay? And we can all say, oh, you know, we need to do, we need to do, we need to do. It is time to do it. And the time to do it is now, because it's been too long. The anniversary of Sergeant David Solinas' passing is March 29th. His parents will be at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. The county there and the town is constructing a memorial for Sergeant Solinas, so they're not going to be around. It would be nice if the town will officially recognize and say something or post something officially from the town. But it will also be nice if the town and the council and the mayor are going to act on this ordinance and on the way to memorialize Sergeant Solinas. I've been coming here in memorial in May 23 is going to be 2 years that I've been coming here for many, many meetings, and I've been demanding this. And I'm asking you guys to stop with postponing it. I understand that there are things that you need to do, and you need to do it in a timely manner, but this is something that is being waiting, and it is time to do it, because each and every one of you, I just want you guys to know that myself voted in past elections for each and every one of you, including you, Roger, a few years ago, including you. I voted to put you in because I believe that you guys are going to do what's good for the town. So I am asking you, as a resident of this town, as someone who puts the trust in you, to please take action. Thank you.
Thank you.
While I'm up here, Linda Bessing, Ardell Lions and OPTV, I'll get to that in a sec. On behalf of the Lions, I just want to thank you all, each of you, for being so generous. And it's not so much the fee that we're charged, it's just cutting through a little bit of red tape. So thank you very, very much. And hope to see you all at the pancake breakfast. After we came back from COVID, this fee was a new thing for us. So we hadn't thought about asking for a waiver but till now. So thank you very much. And when the students were here, the STEM students, I tried to tell their teacher that OPTV will put up anything they want us to put up. It's a wider reach than the bulletin board in the middle of town. So, and I wish that it was more top of mind to not just all of you, but to just everyone in town. We're such a resource that sometimes I feel like you don't realize what you have. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public for public comment on non-agenda items? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now I'll entertain a motion to open for consent agenda items only.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now open to the public for consent agenda items. None, wow. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Laura, no correspondence tonight?
Yeah, I should have put none.
We do have minutes before us for the meetings of January 28th, February 11th, and February 25th for approval. Anybody has any questions, comments, corrections, or I would entertain a motion to approve? We have a second? Okay. Laura, roll call, please.
Mr. Carnaval,
Yes, except for February 11th, I abstain.
Mr. Staff,
Yes for January 28th and abstain for the 11th and the 25th of February.
Mr. Tashian,
Yes, but abstain for January 28th.
Mr. Kern,
Yes.
Mr. Gullo,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
Got it.
Do you have a quorum on all those meetings?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
I had it noted.
Great. Okay, next up will be the consent agenda. Does any member of the council wish to pull an item for separate discussion or voting, or have any questions on any items on the consent agenda?
Mayor, 2585, I just want to thank yourself and the borough clerk and the borough administrator for your patience and working with the committee to correct that, and I apologize if it caused any kind of undue strain. That's it, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
You're welcome.
Anybody wish any resolution to be pulled for a separate vote? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnaval,
Yes.
Mr. Staff,
Yes.
Mr. Tashian,
Yes, with an abstention on 95.
Mr. Kern,
Yes.
Mr. Gullo,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
Thank you. So just a point of order, if we're gonna vote differently than a unanimous approval, we should pull that resolution for a separate vote.
Okay.
Right?
My bad. Wanna pull it?
No worries. No, we're good. We're good. Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Are the Boy Scouts here for pure entertainment, or would you guys, you require some business of us?
We're just here for a message,
Perfect. I hope you got what you needed. Thank you for coming. We don't always get an audience. On that note, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, everybody.